I'm Mike,
And I'm Amber. Welcome to the Covenant Chronicles,
where we tell you the truth about relationships.
giving you the tools to build the foundation you always needed. Welcome back to the Covenant Chronicles.
We're back again. The song plays in my head every time. I've said it before, but I don't even know where I got that song. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was from Men in Black, like the movie, but
I think
I don't know if it
you're
is.
just like making up a random song, to be honest, but
That's a good possibility for sure. Definitely could be.
I think you just made your own song.
Yeah, it's over here, beating to my own drum, the music of life.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyways, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's that.
Mhm. So I want to talk about the small things we do for each other. Well, small and big things. And I think this is important because, as we both learned through our experiences and conversations and just different things, that while we tend to think, hey, we have a lot to work on, in comparison to a lot of folks, like we've accomplished things that is actually or tend to be quite rare in relationships nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so much like any other things, right? Or like when I'm dealing with clients or other people and we get to talking, just simply having a conversation about stuff like certain things, right? Even if it's maybe something that people know, can spark ideas and spark this inner like change where people actually will see things or tend to pick up on things and then start to implement them, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about that and just talk about some of the little things that occur on the regular basis in our relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the importance of these things and how they show up and the way they make your partner feel loved and connected and like they actually want to be a part of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to cover like the whole spectrum here and probably not talk about everything because I don't know if we can talk, like just get to everything, but at least try to cover a lot of it, right? And I was thinking about this because when we sat down, we said, well, what are we going to talk about tonight, right? About that time, I was moving I guess, button up. It's like a flannel button up, but it's more of a...
Oh, your shirt jacket, your shacket.
Yeah. That, because it is more of like an outer jacket, right? But it's technically a button-up flannel, but it's heavy duty and kind of a jacket. Anyways,
They're called shackets.
Okay, well, whatever fancy term,
At least that's what women call them. I don't know if men call them shackets, but
I know that the inside looks like a flannel, the outside is like a heavy-duty Carhartt material, and it's got buttons on it.
uh-huh.
So, anyways, it was probably 2 weeks ago. You come and seen me, my desk, and basically, I think you brought me lunch or maybe it was caffeine or whatever it was. One of the many things that you do for me, right? Which is a whole thing in itself, right? Like we can go down that and talk about just you constantly, A, do you need me to bring you caffeine? Do you need me to bring you, more water? Do you need lunch today? Like that sort of thing. And checking in and seeing how you can serve and help me. And that specific day, I was probably having an off day. I don't remember now. But anyways, you wrote a note to me, right? And it was something simple, I just want you to know you're pretty awesome and I love you or something, something to that effect.
Yeah.
And so that sort of thing, though, right, is massively impactful in the relationship because it's those little reminders, right? And you start looking at some of these things that you do for me, like the lunch thing, right? And constantly doing that. Or like we talked about the greeting thing, right? Like when you come home, like the greeting me kind of thing. If you hear me been sneaking up on you lately, and you haven't even heard me come in the house.
Normally I hear you open the door, or like Remy starts freaking out before you even come in the door, so I know like, oh, you're about to walk in the door. If you're driving your truck, I know when you get home. Like I can hear it from a mile away. But when you're driving the Jeep, I don't know because I can't hear it. And then if Remy doesn't tell me that you're home, and it's the kids are all being loud and stuff, then I don't even hear you until you walk up the stairs.
Like a ninja, just sneak up on you. But that's, when you do hear me though, you do come and you greet me in the stairs and, ask me how my day was and that sort of thing, right? And it's those little things, right? And then we can even talk about like the other day. I told you at some point I'm going to brag about this. You thought I was going to take it to men's group, but I was like, nah.
On the podcast, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. We're all adults here, right? So, I was like, for whatever reason, my head was just killing me. And I don't know. I think I'm, battling some type of sinus infection or something here. And it's, my head was like killing me that day because of like whatever's going on in my face. And you chose to solve it by giving me mouth hugs. For those that don't know what that is, look it up. I think you can put 2 and 2 together of what a mouth hug is. And then bring me Advil, right?
It's not kissing.
No, certainly not. Well, you're using your mouth for something. Anyways, and then you brought me Advil.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, and I brought this up later because like it's so normal to us, right? And we constantly acknowledge each other and like, hey, like you're really awesome. Like I really appreciate everything you do for me in our relationship, right? Like these are normal things that we'll text each other throughout the day, or we might say to each other, in the morning or at night or whatever have you. But these things that occur, right? Like it took me until like I was coming home from men's group for it to actually click and be like, you know how many guys out there are struggling to even like get their wife to be willing to like have sex with them? And you're just like, oh yeah, you got a headache? Cool, let me fix it. Right? And I'm like, but here's the thing, right? It's not, you're going to get a bunch of women that are going to make an excuse to that. Oh, well, you guys are just in a honeymoon stage. And you're going to get a bunch of guys that are like, oh, well, yeah, she's an anomaly, blah, blah, blah. My wife, da, 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 right? And the thing about it is like, no, it's the dynamic. It's the relationship that we've built, right? In the sense that like these things are normalized in our relationship.
Yeah. Where's the post I sent you the other day?
Uh-oh.
I was going to read it because it's this one on TikTok that said, when you find the right man, serving him feels fulfilling rather than draining, and submission feels like safety, not slavery. I'm not sure a lot of people are going to agree with that or feel that, but I feel like when you do find that and you have the right dynamics going on, that is exactly how it feels. Like, I didn't send you that for you to be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Like I just sent it because like that's how I feel about it. It's not like submission and like how everyone I feel like views submission is, but I enjoy doing things for you.
Mm-hmm.
I just enjoy doing it, not because I have to, not because you require me to do it. I just enjoy doing it. It's like, I think we've talked about it before, but like I used to hate making dinner. Like I hated cooking. with a
Mm-hmm.
passion, like hated it. But now it doesn't feel like a chore for me to cook every day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily that I love cooking, but I do enjoy cooking and I enjoy like making dinner and stuff.
Well, and that's the funny thing, though, right? I can't remember the last time I've ever asked you to make dinner.
Yeah.
There might have been a time that I don't know. I don't remember ever asking you to make dinner.
I
Like,
joke with you and ask you to make stuff all the time.
yeah.
You're making breakfast today, right? And you're like, no.
But what's funny about that, right, is like even today though, you brought up the point about how you actually enjoy that, right? And you had, I had a meeting today, a later meeting, and so we were on this really tight timeline of shifting where it was like you were going to your women's group tonight at a certain time, and I was going to be cutting it close with the end of my meeting, and it was going to be this kind of like hi bye as I'm coming in the door and you're going out the door, right? And so you're just like, you cook 90, I'd say throughout the week, 6 out of 7 days you cook some type of like quality home cooked meal. But today was one of those days, like it was a rush. You already had like about an hour from the time you were talking about dinner to the time you had to leave. And it was like this whole, hey, I'm just going to do frozen chicken nuggets for the kids. Right. And you're like, I'm just going to do that and we're going to do whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you text me back 5 minutes later, actually, I'm going to do this. Right. And then you made a meal in the time. And it's funny though, because you see these sort of things, right? And it's these sort of things that continue throughout our relationship, right? And when I sit back and I look at these little things, right, of like in the morning, right, when I leave, kissing your forehead every morning when I leave, right? There's all these little habits and things that we do for each other, and we consistently show up trying to serve each other in different ways, right? But like you said, there's things that I do that make you feel safe and secure and be able to just be in your best mindset and frame of being, right? Which then produces all this other fruit.
Well, and I was thinking about it today when there were some other conversations had about how I feel like I can talk to you about things, which is like a huge thing for me. I think for a lot of women is just feeling like you can actually talk to your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Because like our week's been kind of crazy, and I've definitely had some anxiety throughout the week this week just about some various things. And even like this morning, just having a normal conversation with you, but all of a sudden it like popped up. And then I like, instead of just like shoving it down and ignoring it or whatever, like I sent you a whole text like, hey, like, I'm sorry. Can feel that I'm having some anxiety this morning. Like, I just wanted to tell you about it and whatever. Like, sent you a whole thing about it. And it wasn't like, you were just like, yeah, I get it. Whatever. And then we moved on and it was kind of gone after that. But like, actually being able to bring something up that I'm feeling and talking to you about it is a huge part of that like safety and security thing that I feel like a lot of people don't have, which then leads to, as you're talking about, doing small and big things for each other. Because I feel like when you're in a place where you don't feel that safety or security in your relationship, like you're in like this survival mode where you stop thinking about doing things for someone else, which is like where that whole post about the submission thing came in. Because when I feel safe and secure with you, then I want to just naturally do those things. It's not like you're asking me to do them. It's not like text me and tell me that I need to do specific things or tell me in person, whatever. Like, there's times where, you know, I'll be out and be like, do you need anything? Or there are some times where you'll be like, hey, can you bring me something? And I'm not like, no, I'm not going to bring you a
Mm-hmm.
drink. Like, go get your own drink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, do you need anything else? Like,
Well, and the funny thing about it is too, right, is like to take that a step further, half the time, like, let's be honest. I'm like, hey, I need caffeine, right?
mm,
It's a much shorter distance for me to run to a coffee stand or to a gas station.
yeah, it takes you like
And
a minute.
right. It takes you 10,
Yeah.
right? To get to the place and then bring it to me.
Yeah.
But half the time I use that also as an excuse to see you for a couple minutes during the day,
hmm
right? And it's that, and I get it, right? Not everybody has that luxury, right? Maybe they, both spouses or the couple, maybe both of them work, or they have some situation where it's long distance currently, or, whatever the case may be. There's some sort of something going on there, right?
Mhm.
That prevents that type of stuff. But it's not about that specific situation, right? It's about everything that you do throughout the day. You can't tell me that, let's say both spouses work, right?
Yeah.
And or like, let me rephrase. Both spouses go to a standard day job, 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have a different, I guess, mindset around like when you are doing something you're passionate about, it's not necessarily work, right? So when let's say both spouses have a physical boss that they have to go show up and do a job every day, right? You're telling me that neither of you see each other, right? Oh, well, so and so, my wife's always asleep. Cool, right? Until you and I decided to change our schedule in the morning, right? So were you.
Mm-hmm.
Still kissed your forehead every morning,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even if you didn't wake up, which most of the time I think you're kind of awake when I was up during those times anyways, but like even if you weren't, it's the mindset behind that, right?
Yeah.
And
You also send good morning texts every morning. And if you don't send one,
well, let's be honest. If I don't send one by the time you take the first set of kids to school, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Where's my good morning?
Yeah, it's got to be by the time you like really pick up your phone for the day, because you'll pick it up and move it or what, but you don't actually check messages or emails or anything until basically, and so yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Is those things contribute to the small things that build connection in the relationship, that help to build up the intimacy and that sort of stuff throughout the day. And it's these things that are done continuously over time that really change the dynamic and build up the dynamic that we've created, right?
I almost want to take it a step further though, because I was thinking back on like earlier in our relationship, and we didn't necessarily have the dynamic that we do now. And I think that a lot of the dynamic that we have now came from changing our mindset about each other. And the way that we communicate within ourselves about each other, but also the way that we communicate, like actually talking to each other,
Mm-hmm.
communicate. Um, and I think that's probably a piece that people miss because, you're listening and you're like, oh, that sounds great, but my partner's never going to do that. Like, you're creating something in your head
Mm-hmm.
already saying that, like, that's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like we've we've talked about this a lot, and like we will beat mindset to death, I think. Like if you learn nothing from our podcast except mindset, I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be probably a good place. But, there was definitely a period of time in our relationship where I think we both had some negative mindset about each other. And that bled into the way that we communicated with each other, but then also the way that we showed up for each other. I don't think either of us were as willing or super willing to just do little things for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to a place where we decided we were going to change our mindset about how we communicated with each other, but communicated with ourselves about our partner, that's when things really started to change, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the internal conversations are huge. And the internal conversations, if you want to start showing up when you're trying to ask yourself, or maybe that's the question you have is, well, how do I do that? I want to do that, but I can't seem to be consistent.
Mhm.
Right. Here's the thing. And we talk about this in our men's group, right? Is in the beginning of the Bible, right? We were born in God's image.
Mhm.
And in the garden, the enemy flipped that, right? And how did he do that? Well, he told Eve, if you do this action, if you eat from the fruit, you're going to be like God.
Mhm.
Okay. They were already born in that image, right? And so when you flip it and you say, well, now I have to do actions to achieve something, as opposed to, this is my identity, this is who I am,
Mhm.
and therefore the fruit that is produced from you, the actions that come out of you, are based on that identity, right?
Yeah.
So you have to shift the identity first, and that's what people miss. I mean, we could probably do a whole podcast. I know we could do a podcast on identity alone, right? And
Yeah.
shifting that identity based on your internal conversations. And where this comes into play is, what is your internal conversation around your spouse,
Mhm.
right? And like you said, there was a time period that we weren't as good at this stuff and we were struggling to do these things. The shift wasn't, we said one day, well, I'm going to do this, right? Because we both would. We'd start doing stuff, then we'd fall off. We'd start doing stuff, and then we'd fall off.
Mhm.
The shift was the mindset, the internal conversation around our partner and our spouse.
Mhm.
And when I started saying, right, if, let's say, I can't, it's hard to put it into or quantify, a number per se, but let's just say, to get the point across, yours and my interactions, let's say 4 out of the 5 were kind of average, what you see every day in a relationship now, and they're just kind of right.
Mhm.
And then we have one where you say something and I'm like, and it makes me, kind of, she's pretty incredible, or any sort of like anything like that, right?
Mhm.
Then that's the focus. Then I'm going to take that. That's going to be my focus. And every time I have a conversation or an interaction with you at that point, in the back of my head, I'm saying, she's pretty incredible.
Mhm.
Right. And then before you know it, these conversations just didn't happen. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I don't notice them if they do.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, man, she's pretty incredible. I need to make sure I'm operating at a high level. Right. So then I'm going to operate at a high level. And then I'm going to go, man, I need to do things for her to make her feel loved, make her feel special. So, okay, well, I really want to send her a good morning text every morning. So that way, she wakes up or at least, I guess not wakes up, right? But starts your day with a little smile on your face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's something as simple as like, hey, good morning, beautiful. I love you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll write you a little paragraph about how amazing you are and how I love our relationship and, these other things. But it stemmed from that change and that internal conversation shift and basically saying, okay, I want to view my partner differently.
Yeah.
Right. And a huge example of that was like when we would have disagreements
Mm-hmm.
and you would want to solve things and I would shut down.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, oh, she's so annoying. I don't want to deal with this. Right. And
Yeah.
then I would hibernate. But that shift came when I started saying, okay, maybe I don't want to deal with this, but she's trying because she loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then that simple thing, she's trying because she loves me. And then pretty soon I start actually understanding and believing that. Right. And then pretty soon it's, oh, okay, well, really, this isn't that bad. This scenario is not that bad. I just really need to dig in a little bit because she really wants to solve this because she wants us to be better and she loves me and she cares about me. And she's really trying to fix this because we're not jiving well right now. Right.
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting progressively more and more the other way to the point of now here we are where we talk about we hardly ever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen? Sure. It happened Sunday earlier this week. Right.
Yeah.
But that's like a once in 6 months thing. And it's not this like euphoria honeymoon. Oh, we never fight because you're just avoiding all your issues, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing is we regularly deal with issues, but it's how we deal with them that's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And these little things that we do for each other build the connection and the intimacy to where it creates that space where we can communicate. Right. Because even like the other day when we had our disagreement, right. And we were really not communicating well
Mm-hmm.
compared to what we do most of the time. At a certain point, I was sitting in the bed, you were standing up, and I just scooted over, I patted the bed, I said, hey, come sit next to me. And you came and sat down. And mind you, this is like peak argument, disagreement, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just held your hand and basically said, hey, talk to me, right? And gave you that reassurance. But those things stemmed from the change of conversation, internal conversation, stemmed from a different mindset, or that then led to a different mindset, I should say, which then led to all these little things that we do for each other on a regular basis, which then reminds me because I'm doing this stuff, then you want to show up all the time, which
Mm-hmm.
then reminds me, man, she's pretty awesome. She's really incredible. I love being with her. So then when said, disagreement, argument, whatever happens, I'm like, man, I really don't want to fight with this person. Like, she's really incredible. I love her. And we're just not jiving well. We're kind of being adversaries right now. I don't want to do that. Right. And then it's
Yep.
just, and we're able to take those situations captive and shift them. Right. And it's funny because I look back at past relationships, or even, there was times in our relationship where it was really, we were struggling, and I'm like, man, how did we go from that to this? And it's really just these small things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I was thinking about like the thing I brought up, earlier with the mouth hugs, I'm like, we say it over and over and over, where like if she's not doing what you want in the bedroom, you're screwing up. I promise you, it's not. I don't care if she tells you, oh, she's just not that into it. Oh, I'm older. Oh, my hormones. Or like, yes, there's a rare occasion, but 90% of women that say that, no, it's you screwing up, dude. Like it is you, and she's turned off, and she's not attracted to you, and that's what it comes down to, right? And so then I think about the situations, and it's funny because you go back and you listen to, 10, 15, whatever podcasts ago, where we're talking about this and we're hammering on how you're showing up in your marriage and in your relationship, right? And the ways to fix this thing. And hey, start with the God first, right? Start with praying together. Start with these biblical foundations. And then you build this, and then you build this, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh man, that sounds like this, that, and the other, right? That's so hard, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do it, it's 10 times easier than you ever thought your relationship could be, right? But it's funny because like you would get a lot of people probably that are going to listen to that and what I said earlier in this podcast, right? And they're going to think it's make believe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she did what? Like, oh yeah, no, my head hurt. She did what everybody jokes about and then brought me Advil, and oh, that's make believe. That doesn't exist. Women don't. But what did we tell you 10 or 15 or 20 podcasts ago, right?
Yeah.
How are you showing up? What is the small things? When's the last time you made your wife feel loved? Right? When's the last time you just did something because you love her and you're like, man, I married this incredible woman, so I just want to do that. And it could be something small, right?
Yeah.
The kiss on the forehead, writing a note, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what kills me. Oh, I don't have the money to take her to a nice dinner.
What's funny is that kept popping in my head, and I was actually going to share that, like, just writing a note. Like, we didn't give each other Christmas gifts this year, but you...
Kind of. We ordered new Bibles, but yeah.
Well, you did. They also came a month after Christmas, but anyway.
A couple weeks for sure.
No, but, like, you wrote me a note, basically. And I don't even think you, like, intended it to be for Christmas or whatever. Like, you just wrote me a note. But I, like, ended up writing you one after that and being like, that was, like, the best Christmas present you could have given me. It was just a note, but, like...
That's what I'm saying. You're telling me, men or women, right? This goes for both sides. But I harp on the men because it starts with them, right? You're telling me, I'm going through this stage of life and I don't have a lot of money and I can't take her to a nice dinner. You ain't got a writing utensil anywhere in your house? You ain't got a piece of paper anywhere in your house?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Do you have a job? Even if you don't have a job, like, come on, go knock on a neighbor's house and ask for a piece of paper and a pencil. Make up some crazy story, right? Like, dude, our kids go and knock on doors to ask people to shovel their driveway or chip the ice in their driveway, or like the one time the neighbor kid and one of the boys stole our ice melting gravel and started de-icing people's driveways, right? Like, these are kids who are trying to get money to buy s- some crap they don't need,
Some
right?
candy or something.
Yeah, and you're gonna tell me your relationship ain't that important?
Yeah.
Bro, I promise you, like, your neighbor might look at you crazy for asking for a piece of paper and a pencil, but like, who cares?
Yeah.
You
No.
know how much like judgment, like anybody successful, right? Heck, you know how much crap people talk about me still about stuff that's not even true?
Yeah.
And oh well, X, Y, and Z, and I have all this evidence and blah blah, and it's all fabricated.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh, who cares,
Yeah.
bro? You can't tell me you don't have you don't have a book anywhere. Rip a page out of the book and write on the back of it. You know what I mean? Like there's no excuse not to do these small things for her. You know, if you have your kids have washable markers or you have an expo marker in your house, write a love note on the bathroom mirror,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there is something you can do. Something.
Yeah. I feel like also it should give like a realistic view of this in the sense of like it has taken us about a year to get to the point that we're at today, right? In the sense of like we basically started over our relationship like a year ago from the ground up. And in doing that is when we started doing a lot of these just little things.
Well, and you can even go further that, our journey started, years and years ago in previous marriages when we got to the point that it was, or for you, right?
Mhm.
Or for me, like it was different. Basically, we're going to show up different for ourselves, right? And we
Yeah.
started making changes. So yeah, 100%. When you want to put that into a perspective, the first couple years of our relationship, like you said, maybe we shouldn't have been on the app that we were. But at the end of the day, we both talked about this, and God had a plan for us. There was a reason why things and when you dig into it, I think we've talked about it on the podcast before, but like how it wasn't just us out here searching, right? And we just happened to stumble. Like it wasn't that. Like when you talk about the crap about you were so done with just these ding dongs that kept hitting you, in your messages on the dating app.
Mm.
And, I'm over here where I had like deleted all of mine. And I just got this overwhelming urge one day to re-download the only one I didn't fully deactivate and delete the account, right? And it just happened to be that, and I just happened to come across your profile, and you were ready to delete your stuff, but you had a friend that like at the time that pushed you to be like, you should hit this guy up, right? Like
Yeah.
there's too many like, to say there wasn't like a bigger plan there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of in the beginning figuring stuff out, right? But then when you look at that, that's why we say the things that we say, because it wasn't, oh, we just, got out of previous marriages that were the worst thing ever, and we just met each other and fell madly deeply in love, and now everything's unicorn and rainbows, right?
Yeah.
That's not at all what happened, right? And the first couple years was a lot of us figuring us out, figuring our relationship out, and really working through that. And then years into our relationship saying, okay, here's how this is going to go. We're going to restart or rebuild, I should say. Now that we've spent all the time figuring things out of what we want a relationship to look like, who we want to be inside of a relationship, and we've actually figured out like, okay, all of that aligns with each other.
Yeah.
We're going to restart, and this is how we're doing it from this day forward, right?
Yeah.
So is making that choice
Yeah, I think that's where I was going with it. It's just like I know there'll be people who listen and like, okay, well that's cool. That's just like you said, that's just you guys. You just have this, whatever honeymoon relationship, whatever.
Mhm,
But that's not really the case. Like
mhm,
it did take, you know, a solid 8 months to a year of making consistent changes and habits with each other that have led to this point now, literally a year later, where like our relationship looks completely different than it used to. And the way
mhm,
that we show up for each other is completely different than either of us has ever showed up before.
mhm,
And like, yeah, it might sound like unicorns and rainbows, but like it takes work, but you can get there too. Like
mhm,
it's not it's not something that like it is just some magical fairy tale. Like you can actually do it.
mhm.
It just takes consistent work
Well,
to do it.
and we very much like when you look at the pattern in the history, made those choices and things got better,
Yeah.
right? Like things consistently got better. And by things consistently getting better, I mean the relationship,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't just we woke up one day, was like, man, let's pretend like we know what we're doing and try something and oh cool, like let's, whatever. Like no, it was years of a previous relationship for both of us that we did it wrong.
Mhm.
We learned a lot. We screwed up, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Ended up divorced, figured it out, found each other, figured out, basically spent the time healing, working through our issues, like getting rid of that baggage. And a lot of it was with each other, towards each other, helping each other. Like we saw all of that, right?
Mhm.
And then that's where at a certain point, as we continue to progress, we hit a point and said, okay, now it's time to make the choice to show up completely differently for each other and do that, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The longevity comes in the building the habits, right? And being consistent and as our relationship, this is not a right, and this is where I challenge people. When you start doing something and then you fall off,
Mhm.
it's not very long that you do it,
Yeah.
right? But when you do something and you continue to get better and better and better, more consistent, right? And as time goes on and you get past whatever the 21 days they say to create a habit, right? You
Right.
get past the couple months, you get past the 6 months, you get past the year mark. And here we are where now, we're past that 12 months and we're continuing on,
Yeah.
for quite some time now. That is, hey, things continue to get better. They get deeper, they get connection. We continue to learn, we continue to find these little things from our past that like maybe we missed or we thought were completely like dealt with,
Yeah.
and like oh there's still a little, okay, let's work on that, let's completely finally work on this and just get rid of this little fire, right? But then we go and you go through all this, and then that's the thing, is that we talked about this and we helped others and we had all these conversations. And then it kept being this thing where like not only did we realize like what we had built by us just working through stuff, right? Like this wasn't like we went and took a class and like, oh, we're a professional. No, we worked through stuff, figured it out. And then what we built wasn't normal by societal standards nowadays, right?
Mhm.
And then we said, okay, how can we do this, right? And how long have we been helping people through their crap, right? So we know like the stuff that we talk about, it works. It's not, make believe. It's not new. It's like, and as we talk to people about these things and as they like resonate with it and they understand what we're saying and they do the things that we say, they see the consistent improvement, and it's a long term. And it's funny because a lot of this stuff that we finally took to heart and basically made the choice and said, we're going to do this, we had started practicing, but not making the choice to, years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And it all led up, though, to this place of where we started this conversation of all the little things that we do for each other, right? That you do for me, that I do for you, that we continue to do for each other on a regular basis. That is just showing each other that we love them and they're special to us. And that's the basis of it all, right?
Yeah.
If you actually care about that person, you're not just in it because you get some sort of benefit, right? Like contractual benefit.
Yeah.
Then show them.
Well, and don't just do it for like a week and be like, well, I don't see any difference, so I'm just going to stop. No, that's not how that works. Like, it does take time.
Well, and also stop doing it because you want to see the other person do it. If you love the person, you're going to do it because you want to.
Right. But it's not that hard to send your husband or your wife a text and just say, hey, you're awesome. Or I really appreciate you. Like, you don't even have to be super specific. Like, you should be specific sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But even just sending them a, hey, I appreciate you text is going to get you somewhere, and you do it consistently enough, it just starts becoming how you communicate. It becomes a daily thing without you even like really realizing it, because that's just part of your vocabulary. It's just how you communicate. And at least once a day, something is said like, I appreciate you, you're awesome. I don't know. There's a million different things that we say to each other, but like, it's just part of our communication at this point. Not because we have to, like, just that's how it's just how it is now.
Yeah. So on that note,
yeah,
I'm trying to go get more mouth hugs. So you guys need to go do the relationship audit.
Oh, my lantern.
TheCovenantChronicles.com. At the top, it's there. It's bigger than everything else. Click the link, print it out, do it. Have your spouse do it. Come together, talk about it. Start fixing what you have. Start building what you have. Start building a deeper foundation for what you have. If you love that person, it's important. Make them important. Go do the relationship audit. It is free. You don't need an email. You don't need a name. Literally go to the website and click it, right? It doesn't even ask you about accepting cookies when you come to the website. There's a pop-up that tries to give you 10% off apparel, but that's regardless. Either way, you don't have to worry about that.
Just ignore that and go to...
Or go buy apparel if you want to do that. If you like mindset, and you like faith-based stuff, you can go buy apparel too. But the important thing is the free thing, the easy thing, the thing that you have to do nothing for other than type in a web address, click one button, or if you're on your phone, you do have to click two. You have to click the menu and then go click the relationship audit button. And then at that point, click print. That's all you got to do. It's stupid simple.
There you go.
All right.
Go
On that
do
note,
that.
guys, we will talk to you next time. Go make your relationship important.
That's a good one. Okay, bye, guys.